right, it's recap time, and I am your host for this wonderful recap. Greg Underdahl here. We're going to recap the Bass Pro Tour Stage 2, Lake Travis in Austin, Texas. And I got to tell you, when I got my rental car for this trip, I knew it was going to be a good week. I got a Jeep. I rented a Jeep. I've never had a Jeep as a rental car before, so that was really cool. So I knew it was going to be a great week. So I actually came in the last 4 days. I typically do all 6 days as a videographer. And if you're just joining me for the first time, I am a videographer for Major League Fishing, and I do recap videos, how my week was filming the Bass Pro Tour. So thank you for watching. Thanks for joining me. And we're going to have a good time here. I'm going to try to do this as concisely as possible. I have a terrible memory, so please bear with me. That's why I have notes over here. So I'll be referring to my notes. But here we go. So first thing I want to bring up is that this is one of the greatest inventions ever. And okay, you're thinking, oh yeah, spray sunscreen. That's not new, right? No, what I'm talking about is 100 SPF. That is relatively new. And what's great about this, I've found now, I can say this for certain, I think, it's like one application and I'm pretty much good to go for the whole day. Now, in the summertime, I'll have to check back with you, but for now, I've been very impressed with 100 SPF, one application, and you're done. I thought I'd share that for you. So it's really nice. I hate applying sunscreen. So 100 SPF, what a fantastic, it's probably going to give me like cancer or something like down the road, but right now it's super convenient. Okay, here we go. So day 3, I came in the last 4 days. I may have already said this, but typically I do all 6 days. But I came in the last 4 days of this event. And so day 3, Group A elimination round. So only the top 20 guys, it's a field of 40, only the top 20 guys move on here. So I was paired with Casey Ashley. I filmed Casey Ashley this day. And the first thing, so on Lake Travis, very clear reservoir, the first thing I notice is that there is zebra mussels all over. I have no idea how these zebra mussels got down to Texas because they're like a Great Lakes, fish. Or not a fish, but a mussel. I'm really thirsty right now. Excuse me, this is my stash right here. There's a refrigerator right here. So I've been dehydrated a bit, so I need to have some Gatorade. I hope you understand. But zebra mussels everywhere here. I have no idea how they got down there. They're on the docks. They're on the cables to the docks. They're on the plastic on the floats. They're everywhere. And they're on the rocks. And there's like kind of this limestone rock down here. And there's zebra mussels coating the limestone rocks, which I thought was really interesting. So it makes fishing very difficult because they're razor sharp. So a lot of guys lost fish because of the zebra mussels down here. Excuse me, I'm trying to frame up my shot better because I'm a nut. So Casey was solidly kind of in the top position. Casey was alternating between like a shaky head and a swim, he was throwing a little swim, like a swim bait with a just with a jig head on it, just not weedless or anything. Throwing that around docks, alternating between that and a drop shot. And so he was solidly in the top position. So not much drama there because he was good to go. So they moved me. They want, for a good show, they want to keep it interesting and want to follow those guys that are trying to get above the cut line or are making a run for first place. And Casey wasn't making a run for I can't remember what position he was way up there though. He might have been in that top position. I can't remember exactly, but he was within the top 5 if I'm not mistaken. So there wasn't much drama there. So they moved me closer to the elimination line around like 20th place. So I went to Randy Howell, who was trying to get in that top 20. And one thing I noticed that what Randy Howell had on his boat is he had a mount that I've never seen before. That was a really cool mount, and I wish I would have figured out who made this mount, but he could mount 2 fish finders at the bow. He can mount 1 fish finder on top of the other, but to the side there was a mount for his what's the hydrowave unit. So he had his fish finder, the other fish finder, and right over here he had his what do they call it now? There's been different names for it in the past. Biosonics it's been called in the past, but now it's called hydrowave. So he had that mounted on there, and I thought it was just a nice clean way to mount all that. Thought that was pretty cool. One of the things, I had a stint way back in the day. I emceed some BASS tournaments, and that was the first kind of interaction I ever had with Randy Howell. He'd come up on the stage, and I'd talk to him, and he was so nice, and he remembered my name. I was very impressed with just even years later, he remembered my name, and he's maybe the nicest guy on tour. And one of the cool things that he did on these big boats, when we're filming the cup events, those boats are the Major League Fishing boats, and the center seat always has there's actually a seat for us, a cushioned seat. On these pros boats, which the pros fish out of their own boats in the Bass Pro Tour, there isn't a seat typically. It's just a place to step to the back deck, right? And so I've learned that I should have like a cushion that I bring along. But Randy was really nice. He actually ordered a boat specifically for camera guys. He did this for the camera guys. He ordered a seat for his boat so that we would be comfortable when we're filming these events. And then he always puts like either a pedestal seat or just a regular seat on the back deck so I can put my camera down when I'm not filming, take a little bit of a rest. He's just very courteous in that respect. So I just want to say that about Randy. He's always been a great guy, and I've always enjoyed working with him. So, and unfortunately, it was very slow for Randy, and he kept kind of dropping down the standings. So I was moved to Todd Faircloth, and it was Todd wasn't able to make the cut either. I'm going to kind of just rip through this and get closer just to the meat of today, the championship round. But I did want to kind of go through these first few days a bit. But so Todd, he didn't make the cut, but when we're driving back, Lake Travis is in Austin, Texas, and Austin, Texas is like getting a ton of people from California moving here. There's just a lot of people that are moving to Austin, Texas, and Travis is like, it's their playground. And so, I mean, boat traffic like you would not believe, getting back to the ramp at the end of the day, it was just nuts. And I imagine it's just going to get more and more nuts as more people move to Austin, Texas, because it's like the place to be right now. Let's see. So we moved to day 4, which is Group B. Elimination. So again, only the top people, 40 guys, only the top move to the knockout round, top 20. So I was with Luke Clausen, and I've worked with Luke a few times before, actually maybe one other time before. nice guy. I've enjoyed working with Luke. One of the things, there's a lot of interesting things about this lake, but this lake has fluctuated quite a bit. It's down quite a bit. And I don't think I've ever seen walkways on a lake like this lake has. Some of them are actually built into the earth, like in the limestone, actually chiseled out of the limestone. But a lot of them, probably the majority of the steps going down from these enormous houses, they're actually aluminum. I guess they're aluminum or steel. These like huge long walkways going all the way down to the docks of these homeowners. So I wonder if when the water comes up, that isn't some kind of a pattern. If they get on those walkways, I could definitely see that happening because there's so many of them around here, and the banks are kind of barren. So if you get water coming up, I imagine that you can catch fish off those walkways. Let's see here. One of the things, so I've been, I always try to notice like the new equipment that guys are using, and this year I've been seeing, I guess I started seeing them last year. Yeah, it was last year when I first started seeing these Motor Guide Tour or Tour Pro motors, or Pro Tour. I'm not sure what the exact title is, but it's Motor Guide's newest trolling motor that has spot lock on it, but it has a typical like cable steer. It's the same kind of cable steering, my understanding at least, is the same kind of cable steering that you would have for the old school back in the day, that just very responsive cable steering that all the anglers loved. Now you have kind of like with the Ultrex, the Minn Kota Ultrex, it's like electronic, but what's unique about the Motor Guide is my understanding is it's still using a cable steering system, but it's using a GPS. You still have the GPS capabilities and spot lock capabilities or anchor mode, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I got to tell you, this thing is like the ugliest motor I've ever seen in my life. It is the ugliest trolling motor I've ever seen in my life. I've said this before, but that head on it, like the head of the trolling motor, it looks like, seriously, it looks like Darth Vader's helmet or something. I don't know what's going on with Motor Guide. It might be a great motor. If anybody's got it or anybody's heard, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear if this thing's actually worth anything. But it's odd. It's odd looking. Let's see here. Luke unfortunately didn't make the cut, but Luke is, I believe he's sponsored by Shimano, and I have been a Shimano fan for a very long time, but lately I've been more disappointed with the bails. In fact, we did a video where I just ripped on Shimano's about how I've been really disappointed in them lately. Probably I might not have been that fair, admittedly, maybe, but I'm so torn. I still want to. I have been such a Shimano fan that I'm like, maybe I just need. I've heard different things, like you got to buy the Shimano reels that are made in Japan and not in Malaysia. So I don't know. So I asked Luke what he thought. Should I go? What's his favorite Shimano reel? And I don't know if it's his favorite Shimano reel, but he just recommended. He sung the praises of the Shimano FL. So I am most likely. I can't. It's so hard for me to even think about going to a different reel manufacturer. So I don't know how much that Shimano FL is, but I'm probably gonna go to the Shimano FL as far for a spinning reel. I don't know. I'm a little worried about how much it might cost, but Luke was really singing the praises of that reel. So that's one of the benefits of my job is I get some advice, from the anglers. And like I said, man, I have loved Shimano all my life, and I guess I'm just not ready to leave that company yet. So I think I'll probably take Luke's advice and go with a Shimano FL for a spinning reel. Okay, so let's move to the knockout round. That was day 5, knockout round. So what this means is only the top 8 guys move on, right, to the championship round, which is the top 10 guys. So the winner of the elimination round, Group A, and the winner of the elimination round, Group B, they automatically move to the championship round. So that's why there's only 8 guys that they take from the knockout round. So they have 10 guys fishing in the championship round. If I seem really tired, honestly, whenever you watch these, please, I know a lot of times people on YouTube want to leave some real shitty comments, and that's fine, that's your prerogative, but please understand that I am exhausted. And so, if I sound like like I'm all over the place, please just, I say this every time, but it's so true. I feel like it's very important I tell you this. So if I'm just, it's because I'm exhausted. Okay, so day 5 knockout round, Casey Ashley I'm paired with. And Casey was primarily fishing a swim bait around docks and a shaky head and a drop shot. So I would say that he was fishing the swim bait and the shaky head the most, and then he'd pull out if he'd been fishing an area for a while and not having any action, he'd throw that drop shot to give him something different to look at. Let's see. So he was his main bank, or that he was fishing, was it wasn't a bluff bank, but it was a pretty steep kind of big chunk rock. Probably isn't the best. It was like ledgy, but it's limestone, so it was these big broken off ledges, like these big like squared off kind of broken boulders that he was fishing, but steep, but with docks on it. So he would fish that bank, but also fish the docks a little bit. Try to catch them on a swim bait, and then kind of slow down with a shaky head. So he's using a Zoom trick worm for his shaky head. And he made it into the top 8, so he moved on to the championship round. So I was paired with Casey again this last day. So this is today. The championship round, and I've worked with Casey before in the past, and he's great. He's also a incredible singer. He's actually he told me a story about one time where they couldn't actually sing the national anthem or do the national anthem because the PA system broke down one time. So they would play a recording. So he's like, I can do it. It was either that or someone got sick and couldn't do it. And Casey actually sang the national anthem. He's a country singer. I believe he's in a country band, but he's got a great voice. And that's a little something maybe you didn't know about Casey. But so again, he was throwing a swim bait around docks, doing the same thing basically. He did start in an entirely new place right off the bat this morning. He went into a cove, and he told me that he had seen a big fish, like a great big fish, earlier in the week. Actually, I think he said during practice he saw this. He saw a huge fish just following a snake. There was a snake on the water, and he saw this huge bass just following it. So I think he might have been, I should have asked him this, but I think he was kind of leaving this spot just for this last day. And he started out by throwing a pencil popper top water. And, that's kind of a walking the dog kind of presentation. It kind of pops too. Lots of racket on the water. Didn't work on that spot. I think he put that down, and then he went to a shaky head fishing around docks. He may have caught some in there, but it wasn't that great. So we went back to his original, that bluff bank that I was talking about with docks, and he fished that with a shaky head. Well, he fished it first with that I guess it would be like a 3.5 inch, 4 inch maybe swim bait on a jig head. Fished that around docks, and then he was also fishing that shaky head again. Caught some fish doing that, but he wasn't lighting anything really on fire. So I want to make sure I don't forget anything here. So he moved to more, he called them flat docks. And so what he meant by that, he was fishing more shallow, just instead of on steeper docks and like deep docks, he decided to go looking for more like shallow docks, flat docks is what he called them. And because he had seen in the past when he's been on Lake Travis, I think he said 3 or 4 years ago, he was catching bigger fish off the flat docks. Well, he went, you know how you're not supposed to fish memories? Well, he fished memories and it paid off. He went to those flat docks and he caught 2 bigger largemouth right off the bat. And what was interesting about that is that Bobby Lane was fishing he was fishing marinas, essentially docks, marinas, but in over 100 feet of water, and fish completely relating different. Those fish are completely, suspended underneath the canopy of the docks, and obviously Bobby was finding success doing that. I've seen that worked very, very well in similar reservoirs. Table Rock Lake being another example, or an example where you can do this. Table Rock is very clear and it very deep. And there are guys on Table Rock Lake that, after the post spawn, they will fish docks. Doesn't matter how deep they're at. They know that those fish will just pull out and suspend under those docks, and they'll pitch little jigs and catch them that way. I don't know exactly how Bobby was catching them, but it's the same way that he's catching those fish that are right underneath the canopy. So it's weird, when your boat's sitting on 117 feet of water, but those fish are there, and Bobby was doing that. And it's just interesting that Casey was doing something entirely different. He was actually finding success in shallow docks. So it's one of those examples where you can have competing patterns a lot of times and still do well. Okay, so I did want to say this was very interesting. So Casey, I don't know how we got on this subject necessarily, but bass boats go very, very fast, 70 plus miles an hour. And we had talked about just, there's always, whenever you get into rough, boat wakes, or, you can, if you're driving in an unfamiliar body of water and, you hit something, maybe you're shallow and you didn't realize it, or you hit a stump, you can be thrown out of a bass boat. And Casey said that a number of anglers had actually thought, through the years, they've been trying to get boat manufacturers to put seat belts or something similar to that in bass boats. So maybe not to necessarily strap you in if you were to be, potentially thrown out of a boat, but to at least to keep you from flying, you know, to at least kind of I don't know the word I'm looking for, just to slow you down a bit, because it's actually, Casey says that it would be better to stay in the boat than to get, you know, thrown out. It's like, he made a great point. How many bass boats do you hear getting capsized? You hear all the time about guys getting thrown out of boats. So I just thought it was interesting that was even a thing, that the guys had kind of petitioned these boat manufacturers to figure out a way to keep anglers inside if there was, you know, inside the boat if there was a potential to be thrown out. So it's something that I'd never even considered before, as far as a way to restrain the occupants of a boat if they hit something or whatever. So interesting. Okay, so this day I'll just wrap it up with this. Okay. Obviously, I'm biased about Major League Fishing. Major League Fishing has been very good to me. I will say that today it should prove to everybody why this is a superior format. It's like the drama today. Jacob Wheeler won by a mere 2 ounces. Okay? Won by a mere 2 ounces. I was like just listening on my headphones to the live show, and I was riveted. Okay? My angler wasn't in contention, and I was riveted, you know, to what was going on. I was riveted. I don't know if that's the right term. Whatever. It was riveting. And so Bobby Lane was just sneaking up on Jacob Wheeler. He had a real shot to win. Caught a keeper to bring him right next to Jacob Wheeler, only 2 ounces away with I think less than 2 minutes left, and it was so much drama like this sport has never had before. So I don't know how you look at that last period and think that this isn't the future of the sport. To me, it's a no-brainer. I just think what Major League Fishing has done to make this a legitimate sport, I think that if this sport was going to be mainstream, Major League Fishing is giving it a chance that it's never had to become mainstream. This is the best opportunity I think that we've ever had for this sport to actually become more of a mainstream sport. Will it ever become a mainstream sport? I don't know, but I will say this kind of a format and this kind of a, you know, drama that we had today certainly helps and certainly legitimizes bass fishing as a real sport. It was incredible. I guess I'm just proud to be a part of it, because I've never heard anything like that in bass fishing before. I've never experienced anything like that. So to me, it's a great thing for bass fishing. Major League Fishing is really elevating the sport, in my opinion. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe to Angling Uploaded. Be sure to like the video. Love to hear some comments. Only nice ones. That's fine. You can be a jerk too. So yeah, join me at the next one, stage 3 coming up, and look forward to seeing you next time.